It's Friday, December 5th, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Two areas we're watching. This is the batch of rain near the ABC Islands we've been tracking the last few days. That's going to head toward Honduras. We'll track that. I'll show you the rain just south of Jamaica for the most part. And then this area here, this is what we will be tracking through the weekend. It is not organized. I'm not seeing it developing into a tropical depression or tropical storm. I am seeing it becoming a flood threat for some of us. So this is a concern, especially for the second half of the weekend. And what I'll do through the weekend, if needed, put out additional updates. If you're subscribed, you'll get those alerts when a new video comes out. So this pocket here, while it's not going to be super widespread, it is going to bring some additional rain and flooding. And that is a concern for some of us this weekend. I want to highlight that. And it is tied to what's going on to the north. So long all of these fronts are here, which is common this time of year, that helps draw in some of the moisture. Historically, across parts of the Caribbean, we've had significant flood events in the month of December, right when we come out of the hurricane season. We know we don't need a named system to cause some big issues, and that's what we're going to be watching. But this here is a second moisture feed. Look at Mexico, back toward parts of Texas, Louisiana, southeast U.S. Heavy rain in spots of flood potential. We'll go over the totals, so I'll go to the north as well. So a lot to cover. So thank you for your patience in this video. But let me start with this. This here, the 3-day rain totals, Trinidad and Tobago. Look at these shadings here. The black, almost that red shading, that's over 150 millimeters of rain. So I do appreciate you sharing this information with others. Most of this would be on Sunday, right? That's when we're going to see the higher flood threat, including northeastern Venezuela and Guyana. Even Grenada, we're going to see a better chance of rain. We'll go island by island with all the rain totals in this video. But I do appreciate you, especially because it's not a named system, sharing this information that flooding could be a potential. And even if we don't get a ton of flooding, it's really going to add on to the rivers and that sort of thing for additional rain as we work our way into the month that we'll see additional problems. Now, here we go on Saturday. You see already some scattered rain, but on Sunday, look what happens here across Trinidad in particular. You see some of this yellow shading. In that, we could get a quick 50 millimeters of rain. So it's going to start to add up. Sunday looks to be wetter, but even tomorrow night, Saturday night, and then in through the day on Sunday, that's when we're going to see that higher chance of rain. That's why I wanted to zoom down. So again, thank you for sharing some of this information. Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, northeastern Venezuela, with some heavier rain. So let me widen out. Here are the two pockets we're watching. This is the area we've been tracking all week. Here comes that new area. Not so much Suriname, but a little more Guyana to the north where we'll get that better chance of rain. Grenada, we're going to see that rain chance, and St. Vincent of the Grenadines bumping up on Sunday. Then you see here by Saturday, here's some of that rain near the Bay Islands. Cayman Islands and Jamaica, it stays mainly to the south. With that, we'll still get some spotty showers and storms, or really just some spotty showers. Most of the heavy rain stays to the south. Saturday, rain increasing, but look at Sunday. There's the additional rain. Guyana back through Trinidad and Tobago. That is the concern for some pockets of flooding, especially southern Trinidad. Better chance of getting some of that rain that we'll be working in, and a better chance of getting some of the flooding scattered about in Central America. Then as we work forward into Monday, I mentioned December is going to be really busy. So again, thank you for hanging with me as we go throughout the month, watching the moisture here kind of feeding in. Eventually that moisture near Trinidad heads back toward Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, but another front drops in. So we'll be watching through the weekend into next week. Look at Monday, parts of Florida, the northern Bahamas, we're going to see a better chance of rain. Cuba back toward the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, and still in Honduras. So a lot going on, and this is the pattern we're going to have as we go throughout the month. Now, with that said, if that's not enough, I monitored this as well. This one, not a big one though. Always keeping it in perspective, but it just happened. So I want to let you know, in the Dominican Republic, 3.8 in magnitude, an earthquake. But again, it was rather deep. But on this channel, we'll be tracking that as well as we go forward, no doubt, if there's any shaking out there. But that one, not a big one, but it did just happen. Now, here's that second moisture feed. Look at that rain near the Gulf, parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, North and South Carolina, and then watching this rain right through parts of Mexico here. This does help pull in some of that moisture in the Caribbean. Then by tomorrow, that rain, North Florida, really the panhandle of Florida, back toward parts of Georgia, South Carolina. And again, watching all of this kind of pulling away from the Atlantic region to Canada. This here is on Sunday. Look at that blob of rain. Again, not organized, but a flood potential here. And then by Monday, heads up in Bermuda, this rain is going to be surging in, clipping down through the peninsula of Florida, back through the northern Bahamas. So you see this rain we're tracking here. So some different sectors getting some big big rain. Of course, snow on the north side of that. Watching that Nova Scotia back toward Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island, and a new system dropping back toward British Columbia in the northwest, or the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. So we have that busy December pattern, which we have seen over the last few years, which have given us, unfortunately, some big areas of flooding. Now, the seas are going to stay elevated, a little bit choppy as we go throughout the day and throughout the weekend across the Caribbean, with one batch of rain moving in, another one kind of headed in. So those Atlantic passageways will be elevated with that bigger batch of rain moving back toward Trinidad. Then by the time we get into next week, there's going to be that front that drops in right through here. So look at the Gulf. This is Monday, and then swinging back through here, northern Bahamas, southeast U.S., back through the coast of Florida, higher seas in this sector. That's that system that'll drop in and bring additional rain to parts of Florida and the northern Bahamas as we work forward. And you see it right in there. Look at this, and I'll zoom out in a second. Georgia back toward North Florida, especially today, we could see some spots getting upwards of 4 inches of some rain, maybe a little bit more in some areas. Cayman Islands and Jamaica, the heaviest rain, or rather the widespread rain staying to the south. If we get a downpour, of course, that would be heavy rain. But again, it's going to be pretty isolated. Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico, U.S. British Virgin Islands, hit or miss. Still back through Saba, Statia, St. Kitts and Nevis. Some of us need to get some rain, right? Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, rain chance staying limited. It's this area here. We work our way back toward Grenada, St. Vincent the Grenadines, especially southern islands, and most of this south of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados. But we could get clipped by some rain, especially on Sunday. We'll watch out for that. But Grenada, we could get some spots of 75 millimeters of some rain. And then, of course, those higher totals, Trinidad South, northeastern Venezuela, Guyana, some spots, again, getting over 100 millimeters of rain. Suriname, extreme western sections, better chance of the rain. And as this rain here from the ABC Islands works toward the Bay Islands, you can see along the coast, especially Honduras, Nicaragua, we'll have some spots of 75 millimeters of rain. But as we work our way into next week, Belize, we'll be watching how far south that front gets. So Belize will be a little more active for us as we work our way into early next week. But this is that moisture feed. Cabo San Lucas, an additional 25 millimeters of rain. But then we swing back through here. This is where we get those higher totals. I mentioned upwards of 4 inches of rain in this spot right through here. So watching that with some additional rain. So rain chance about 30 to 40% the next 3 days for us in Jamaica. The biggest blob of rain stays to the south, works its way over toward Honduras. Same thing in the Cayman Islands. Rain chance today 40%, but a 30% chance tomorrow. But here's what happens as we work our way through the weekend. Look at Sunday. We zoom way up, maybe not as much Tobago, maybe more Trinidad. We'll be watching it either way, but that flood potential around. So again, I appreciate you sharing some of this information across Trinidad and Tobago, especially because it's not a named system. Sometimes that kind of gets, really doesn't make those headlines. That's why I do this channel, to let you know what's happening. Barbados, 20 to 30% chance, about a 40% chance in St. Lucia the next couple of days, today and tomorrow. Could get some scattered showers. But here we go in Grenada. Look at Sunday. That's when we're up to about a 70% chance of rain. St. Vincent the Grenadines, mainly southern islands with that better chance of rain Sunday into Sunday night. Martinique, rain chance over the next 2 days at 40%. Today and tomorrow in Dominica, about a 40% chance and a 30% chance on Sunday. 30 to 40% chance will hold right into the weekend. Back through Guadeloupe, Antigua, Barbuda, it's not too high this weekend, a 20 to 30% chance. And this weekend, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, rain chance minimal, only 20% Saturday and Sunday. We do that again today through the weekend. Anguilla and St. Bart's, rain chance holding at 20%. 20% chance, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. Could see a few areas of rain around, especially eastern side of Puerto Rico as we go throughout the day. Could get clipped by a couple showers. U.S. and British Virgin Islands over the next 2 days, rain chance holding at about 20%. But the Bahamas, we're going to watch out for that front that will eventually drop in, especially on Monday. That rain chance is going to be getting higher. Freeport, New Providence, rain chance meanwhile, Turks and Caicos holding at 20%. Through the weekend in the Dominican Republic, we're looking at about a 30% chance. In Haiti today through the weekend, rain chance will be holding at 20%. Belize, though, we'll keep an eye on Sunday and Monday with that front dropping in. That rain chance will be getting higher, and that moisture that's pulling closer to Honduras. So we'll see how this kind of shakes out as we go throughout the weekend. Still watching some areas areas of rain around, maybe hit or miss though, Aruba and Curacao, but where we get it, we could still get some downpours around today. Keep me posted in the comments. Then as we go through the weekend, the rain chance drops off, but watching that flood threat with some of the higher totals, parts of Guyana, not as much Suriname. You see that rain chance this weekend holding at 30%. Pretty dry the next couple of days. Cuba, 20% chance today and tomorrow. Build some Costa Rica and Panama, looking at about a 50% chance as we go throughout the day today. Nicaragua by Sunday, especially eastern sections, better chance of getting some of the rain and watching some of that moisture getting closer to Honduras. Not for all of us, but we'll see some of that rain trying to work in. Also watching Providencia and San Andres with that better chance of rain. Guatemala and El Salvador with that front dropping in by the weekend. We'll see a better chance of rain Sunday into Monday. Mexico City, a front will be nearby on Sunday, so rain chance bumps up. In the Yucatan Peninsula, especially on Monday, Sunday into Monday, that rain chance is going to be getting higher. Campeche, Cancun, Cozumel, northern Colombia, 40 to 50% chance, and of course, especially northeastern Venezuela, closer to Trinidad, that's where that rain chance will be higher. Then we'll be watching Sunday into Monday. Monday in particular in Bermuda, we're going to see a big area of rain at least nearby. Got you covered in Bermuda as we watch that system coming out of the U.S. So rain moving across the Caribbean towards Central America, that's one batch, but this new area coming from the Atlantic that will bring the flood threat through the southeastern Caribbean. That's what we'll be tracking this weekend, along with monitoring that earthquake activity. So thank you for sharing this information, being part of this channel, and I hope you have a good day ahead.